When Ivan Velazquez Caballero was just a teenager, he began stealing cars in his hometown, showcasing a knack for criminal activities even at a young age. As he grew older, his illicit pursuits escalated, leading him down a dangerous path that would ultimately intertwine his fate with one of the most notorious drug cartels in history, the Los Zetas. Imprisoned at the local jail for his car theft arrest at the promising age of 22, little did Velazquez Caballero know that this would be just the beginning of his tumultuous journey into the criminal underworld. And probably he couldn't even imagine that one day he would have his own Wikipedia page and foreign YouTubers would make videos about him because of his crazy life story. Upon his release, Caballero met Heriberto Lascano and was appointed as the regional boss of the cartel in Nuevo Laredo. He would from here lead a tumultuous life of crime, and once you're working for the Zetas cartel, let's just say that nothing will be the same again. Your life is at maximum risk every day. Many people want to get rid of you, and you want to get rid of a lot of people. Yes, the money comes in at a staggering rate, but it's not worth the PTSD you get from killing so many people almost daily. Welcome to our channel, where we delve deep into the world of the Mexican and Colombian cartels. Subscribe and hit that bell icon so you'll have more Hollywood movie type of real stories about the crazy things that happen in Mexico. Mr. Mexican Taliban's story begins with the birth of Ivan on the 10th of February 1970 in the border city of Nuevo Laredo, Tamaulipas. At the tender age of 14, Velazquez Caballero embarked on a life of crime, starting with car theft in Nuevo Laredo. His illicit activities caught up with him at 22, when he found himself behind bars in La Loma Penitentiary, serving time for his car theft endeavors. It was during his imprisonment that he crossed paths with Heriberto Lascano and eventually joined his ranks. Released from prison, Caballero established a connection with Lascano and rose through the ranks of Los Zetas. Lascano, only 4 years older than Velazquez Caballero, boasted an impressive resume that included service in the Mexican Army's elite special forces and subsequent involvement with the Gulf Cartel and the notorious Los Zetas cartel following a split, and also his gruesome torture ways. Lascano carved out a terrifying legacy by engaging in sadistic acts that instilled fear in those who crossed his path. Decapitation, acid baths, and the torture and murder of numerous individuals became the trademarks of his reign. One of Lascano's favorite methods of torture, infamously known as La Paleta, or the popsicle, involved stripping victims naked and subjecting them to brutal beatings with a wooden board. Witnesses recall a chilling incident where Lascano tied a man to a tree, relentlessly breaking his legs and leaving him bound to suffer for days until death released him from agony. The Mexican authorities revealed that Lascano possessed a ranch where he kept lions and tigers, and obviously he threw his opponents to these cages so that they could be eaten alive. To maintain control over his subordinates, Lascano resorted to intimidation tactics with deadly consequences. He would dump victims, or even their children, into large barrels of boiling oil, using the gruesome act to instill obedience and terror. If any of his men were suspected of theft, Lascano would force one to watch as his henchmen bludgeoned the other to death with a 2x4. In a chilling twist, the executioner would then extract the victim's heart, disregarding the organs, while some other drug lords would go so far as to force guests to consume their victims' organs. So this is the guy who was El Taliban's mentor in this business. Additionally, Lascano pioneered the macabre technique of decapitation that the Los Zetas cartel continues to employ. Witnesses under protection have disclosed that Lascano would allow captured rivals to starve or be devoured by wild animals, finding perverse pleasure in witnessing their slow demise. A student, of course, would follow in the footsteps of his master, and thus Ivan Velazquez Caballero earned the chilling nickname El Taliban for his resemblance to the Afghan militant group leader who displayed severed heads. This grim association reflected the brutality that fueled his ascent within Mexico's most violent cartels. With Lascano's backing, Velazquez Caballero rose to prominence. He became a plaza boss for Nuevo Laredo in 2004, overseeing all criminal activities and legitimate businesses in the area, while gaining a share of the profits. By 2007, he had been relocated to Zacatecas, where he commanded a group of over 400 men. Just one call, and you will have 400 men coming with SUVs to protect you. His ascent continued, and he became a top leader within Los Zetas, wielding power and influence as a major financial operator and money launderer for the criminal organization. His brutality and skills earned him $30 million every month, but around 70% of this money went to bribes for police officers, salaries for his men, operational expenses, guns, ammo, and food, plus for cars, of course, because your 400 soldiers need to ride around in fancy SUVs. So when 4 soldiers are in one car, that makes at least 100 vehicles to take care of constantly. The Mexican government recognized the threat posed by Velazquez Caballero and placed him on the list of the country's 37 most wanted drug lords in 2009. A reward of up to 30 million pesos, equivalent to over $2.5 million, was offered for information leading to his capture. His criminal activities ranged from drug trafficking and money laundering to ordering assassinations across the border in Laredo, Texas. As pressure mounted from authorities, Velazquez Caballero faced additional challenges from within his cartel. The manhunt for Mr. Mexico's Taliban was an international effort, with the United States Department of the Treasury designating him under the Foreign Narcotics Kingpin Designation Act. This designation prohibited U.S. citizens and companies from engaging in any business activity with him and froze his assets in the United States. The pressure was mounting, and law enforcement agencies on both sides of the border were closing in. On September 26, 2012, the Mexican Navy, with the collaboration of the DEA, arrested Velazquez Caballero in San Luis Potosi. The arrest was executed without a single bullet fired. 2 other men were apprehended alongside him, and the authorities seized a cache of weapons, drugs, and a substantial amount of cash. The arrest marked a significant victory in the fight against organized crime, but it was just the beginning of the legal proceedings that would follow. A rift divided Los Zetas into 2 factions, one led by Lascano, and the other by Miguel Trevino Morales. Remaining loyal to his boss, Velazquez Caballero found himself embroiled in a violent war between the rival factions. It caused a series of massacres and shootings in northern Mexico, further illustrating the brutality and chaos surrounding these criminal enterprises. The aftermath of Velazquez Caballero's arrest left many questions unanswered. The timing of his capture suggested the possibility of betrayal or informant involvement. Some speculated that Trevino Morales, seeking to consolidate his power, may have played a role in setting up the arrest. Others believe that Velazquez Caballero's capture could lead to a power vacuum and an increase in violence. The arrest of Velazquez Caballero had far-reaching implications for the criminal landscape in Mexico. Security experts theorized about the potential consequences and power dynamics that could unfold in the wake of his capture. One theory suggested that the Sinaloa cartel, led by Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, could exploit the division within Los Zetas and the Gulf Cartel to expand its influence in the lucrative smuggling routes of Tamaulipas. With Ivan out of the picture, Guzman saw an opportunity to assert control and potentially eradicate his rivals altogether. However, the arrest of Caballero did not guarantee an end to the violence and chaos. Los Zetas, known for their decentralized structure, could see local and orphan cells breaking away from their leaders and operating independently, further destabilizing the region. The arrest, though significant, did not address the underlying issues plaguing Mexico's criminal underworld. In November 2013, El Taliban was extradited to the United States to face drug trafficking and money laundering charges. He made his initial court appearance in Laredo, Texas, where he pleaded not guilty. The case was later transferred to McAllen, Texas, where he appeared before U.S. District Court Judge Micaela Alvarez. On April 7, 2014, Velazquez Caballero decided to change his plea and pleaded guilty to the charges, signaling a turning point in his legal battle. The court sentenced Velazquez Caballero to 30 years in prison on July 21, 2017. Along with the prison sentence, he was ordered to forfeit $10 million in drug proceeds. His conviction marked a significant victory for law enforcement agencies in their relentless pursuit of justice. However, the story of the manhunt for El Taliban does not end with his imprisonment. The impact of Velazquez Caballero's arrest and conviction reverberated through the criminal networks in Mexico. His capture exposed the vulnerabilities and internal power struggles within Los Zetas and the broader criminal landscape. It served as a reminder of the ongoing challenges faced by law enforcement agencies in combating organized crime. While his imprisonment provides some sense of closure, the fight against drug trafficking and organized crime in Mexico continues.